Your money on surviving the crisis. Now, I'm Matt Sampson. Thanks for joining us. Now, last week we talked about the housing market and what sellers should be aware of. This week we want to focus on tips for buyers, and we want to welcome back Joseph Rand, managing partner from Better Homes and Gardens Rand Realty, right here in the Hudson Valley. And last week I learned, you told me, that this tends to be a good season for sellers. Can it also be a good season for buyers?
Well, it's the right season to buy because there's lots of homes on the market, and that's what you want. You want a lot of choice and inventory. I think the larger issue is that right now, from a historical perspective, it really is a great time to buy. And I know that sounds everybody gets skeptical about that because real estate agents have a stereotype that we're always saying it's a great time to buy. It's like crying wolf, Peter and the Wolf. What you have to remember about that story is that at the end of the day, there was a wolf and no one listened. And really, we're talking about right now, in 2012, we've been in a buyer's market for 7 years.
Right.
And at some point, we're going to start seeing those prices go up again. And right now, you have an opportunity with prices low, with interest rates below 4%.
Really low.
Which are ridiculous. And you're looking at a period now where it's as good a time to buy a home as we've had in about 15 years.
Okay, let's talk about agents, real estate agents. Is there such a thing as a buyer's real estate agent and a seller's real estate agent?
Yeah, if you're buying a home, you're entitled to be represented by an agent who is your fiduciary. The same way that a lawyer represents you and your interests, you can have an agent who represents you and your interest. And it's to your advantage to do that because going to buy a home and talking only to the listing agent is like going to a car dealer and trying to get all the information about the car. You don't have somebody on your side. When you're buying a home, you want someone on your side who's going to tell you about what other homes have sold for, what's a good way to make an offer. You don't want to ask the listing agent what a good offer should be because they're going to tell you to offer full price. You get a buyer agent to represent you and they're going to look out for your best interest.
Okay, and are we talking about some buyers? Can buyers dictate who they want to use as an agent for them?
Absolutely. You have a legal right to representation of your choice that no listing agent would ever tell you that you can't have a buyer agent. So you're entitled to that, and you should take advantage of that because it doesn't cost you anything. The seller pays the commission to both brokers.
Okay. Are there mistakes that buyers really should watch out for from the beginning? Should I be pre-approved on everything? Should I start? How do I do it?
I think the biggest mistake most buyers make is that they don't get pre-approved, that they really should sit down at the beginning of the process once they get serious and talk to somebody about a qualified mortgage lender about how much they can afford because it might surprise them one way or the other. It might be a good surprise, it might be a bad surprise, but either way, you don't want to waste a lot of time looking at homes that you can't afford or that below your buying power. And another mistake I think people make, Matt, is that they narrow their focus too quickly. They get too focused on buying a particular type of house in a particular type of town, and what they really need to do is start with a very broad search function to really look broadly and get to see a lot of homes are out there. And it's fun. Shopping is fun. And buying a home, a lot of that process is going out and shopping and looking at homes and seeing what you like, seeing what you don't like, imagining yourself there, making fun of the seller's decorative choices, all those kinds of things. That's the fun part, and so enjoy that part.
That's a good point because automatically I know when I think in terms of looking for something like that, I'm pretty narrow. I think, okay, this is the only thing I'm going to want and that's a mistake.
I think it is. I mean, when I moved to the Hudson Valley about 3 years ago, I was looking always at houses. I lived in Manhattan and I wanted to move out. I wanted to get the classic house. And it was funny because I ended up buying a condo, a very big condo in Nyack that had the size that I wanted. But it also allowed me a place where it wasn't quite as big of a change. And I never was looking for condos until my buyer agent, who happened to be my mother, with 30 years of experience, that she said to me, you got to go see this condo. I know you're not looking at condos, but you got to look. And that's as big a change as you can make.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised at how many people start looking in Westchester, they end up in Rockland, they start looking in Rockland, they end up in Orange, or they end up in Dutchess, or they're looking in this town, they end up in another town. So you don't want to narrow too much right at the beginning of your search process.
Okay, now let's say I go on a tour and I look around a house. What actually should I be looking for?
Well, mostly you're going to look at the things that appeal to you, that meet your criteria of what you're looking for in a home. Once you get serious about the house, though, Matt, what you want to do is you want to think about some of those things that are going to make a difference. I love the pool, and that's why I really love this house, or I love the way the flow is. But then you want to think about things like your commute. You want to think about things like when you really get serious, go and turn on the knobs, turn on the shower. look at the water pressure. There's nothing worse than buying a house and you go in, you turn the water for that first shower and there's a trickle or there's no hot water. And those are the kinds of things that might not even get picked up on an inspection that you're not going to pick up unless you're really doing a very diligent look at the house once you get serious about buying it.
Okay, Joseph Rand, thanks very much for coming in.
It's my pleasure.
And I know we'll be talking more about this whole process. We've talked about sellers, today about buyers, and there's a whole future of things to talk about. Thanks very much for coming in. Once again, that's Joseph Rand, managing partner from Better Homes and Gardens Rand Realty right here in the Hudson Valley. And folks, stay with us. More ahead on Daytime.